Enough already! You've worked harder, stayed later, smiled through it, you've shrunk yourself, you've overexplained yourself, you've apologized for yourself, and still walked away feeling like you were the problem. You weren't. You've been playing by rules that were never designed for you, and you're exhausted. You're done. I'm Coach Mo Faul, and this is Enough Already, the podcast for women who are done performing and ready to heal, reclaim, and redefine what their life actually gets to look like when you step into your real power. No more shrinking, no more trying to be less or more, or whatever they need you to be. We're going to name exactly what happened, get free from it, and figure out what comes next. This is your space. This is your moment. Women, we are rising. Let's get into it. I am a soul coach. I am a soul whisperer. I've been helping over 2,200 women over the last 12 years advance their careers through strategy, great resumes, improved communication interviewing techniques, better LinkedIn profiles. But you know the secret? Underneath all of that was them emerging as a whole individual. It's what I call developing their soul code. And if you want to find out immediately right about that in my book, you can click on the link below. But I want to tell you something. I have called my work different things over the 12 years because it has resonated differently. And now I want to share with you a deep, deep insight that is staring at you from the mirror. The whole version of you is where your power lives. That whole self. Now, the problem is most of us split ourselves in so many different directions. I'm not talking about the roles we have. I'm talking about the power we have. We believe our boss when they say some negative things about us, or they try to put us into a corner or tell us we're too intense or not intense enough. We begin to doubt ourselves, and that peels our soul away from our center of gravity. The soul code is not something you build. It is something you uncover. And you've probably heard the story of me recovering from my double mastectomy. And it was at that time that I uncovered my true power, my true self, helping kids ride their bikes without training wheels. It was something that came so naturally to me. And I was so profoundly satisfied with it. And after coaching women for over 12 years, which I left my own successful executive career to do because it was calling me to help other professional women advance. But I want to say this, the gap between your true power and who you are today is not about building. It's about uncovering. And you know what happens when you uncover your whole self? You get your voice back. You get your creativity back. You get your ability to love truly back. And you know what else happens? You truly see what isn't working for you. Now, I'm not trying to be a harbinger of bad news, but when you get your power back, when you unleash the true power that you have inside, the divine given, source given, infinite intelligence given, energetic source of who you are and why you're different than me, that whole person reveals a set of gifts in a distinct way, and you're no longer interested in doing or hanging out with people who are not aligned with that version of you. You know, the truth is that there's some human beings likely in your life who are thriving because you're broken. Now, I don't mean broken as permanent. I mean broken as that over time you have been pulled apart. And those people thrive on getting more of you than you really want to give because you're seeking something that they'll never be able to give you. And I'm saying this from my own experience, but more importantly, I'm saying it from coaching thousands and thousands of women. I've coached a few men too. As a matter of fact, one of them is one of my longest standing clients. As human beings, we have conveniently, dysfunctionally found ways to separate ourselves from our true power because we've learned along the way that we have to be perfect for others, that we have to perform for others, that we have to produce in order to be loved. One of my clients just posted on Facebook today about each year, it's her birthday soon, each year as she's been working with me on herself, she has uncovered another layer of an operating system of not enough. And this operating system keeps getting moved out of the way. She's landed different jobs along the way. She's risen up in her ability to really believe in herself, even though she's had decades of performance. Always scurrying about, though, not sure if it was enough. And you know what that feels like, I'm sure, because when you're scurrying around not being enough, there's this nervous energy, there's this anxiety, there's this feeling that you have to keep going. And after a while, you can't sleep well. You might have to take some medications about that. You might have to drink wine at night, binge on Netflix, other types of coping mechanisms to try to alleviate that anxiety, that worry, and that not enoughness. And the truth is, inside, there is a whole you. She's in there. She really is. And it does take some courage to dive in. It does take courage to change and evolve. It does take courage to sit in your wounds, just like this client of mine who wrote about her journey on Facebook today. She sat in the uncomfortableness of feeling unworthy and unloved long enough to realize that that isn't her. She sat there long enough to let it dissipate. And this is the beautiful thing of letting go of negative narratives and stories and thought form energy that we create over time. When you sit with it, its untruth vanishes. You know that whole idea that if you walk away from a bully, that they don't want to fight, if they engage and you engage, that's when you get into a fight. So the same thing with negative energy. Now, it might take some time and some several repetitions, but when you sit with it, it begins to dissipate. It feels uncomfortable. Sometimes I want to feel like I'm going to throw up or pass out or faint, or my inside start churning in like a way that it feels like something's inside of there messing around. I've had spontaneous deep tears moving through a meditation. All of these are the necessary journey to come back to yourself. And this whole self is still in there. Before you got edited, before you were told, nope, not that version of you. You got to be this way. No. You can't be that. Nope, you can't wear that. Nope, you can't do that. You can't say that. You've been edited all your life. And if you think back to the version of yourself before all of that, you're going to find some kernels of truth about you. And here's the other thing. As a professional woman, you've also heard that criticism, and it's been layered on top of what you heard as a young girl and as a young woman. And so therefore, your brain, your psychology goes, oh, that's a match. Oh, that must be true. Oh, okay, I have to keep running as fast as I can to avoid that problem from creeping up again. I got to run as fast as I can to belong and to feel worthy and to move up and to be seen in the right way. And then you get pissed off at yourself because you're doing all of this stuff and it's not getting you the result that you want to get. And at some point, it's like, enough already. And depending on when you see this podcast, I had a podcast of enough already for a couple of months because that's what I wanted to say to the world. But now I'm Coach Mo. I'm the creator of the Soul Code, a methodology, a framework that helps you get back to your soul so that you can be in your wholeness, your full power, and to apply that into your life. It's not just an idea or a philosophy. It is a practical manual for how to apply your soul's truth and power and alignment into a life that feels better and is better and will be better. You, my dear sister, my dear soul human, are whole and perfect, but it's in there like a gem that needs to be excavated, found, brightened up, polished. I know she's in there. I've witnessed the unveiling of thousands of other women. And you know what else? I've also witnessed the unveiling of thousands of hundreds of women now who have run scared from that process. And that's why I wrote a book. I wrote a book so that the material can be digested, read at your own pace, and it can be the price of a book. So that the entry point of doing the inner work can have a pace that might fit many people. Thousands of women have dove into my work, done the deep, intensive coaching. They've had fantastic results that have skyrocketed their lives. Some have chosen divorce, moving to a different city, closer to aging parents, moved closer to kids who were now having children, left jobs that were absolutely toxic, sometimes after decades and decades of being in a shrinking container. The relief they felt. Like a rose blooming after it had been dormant for decades on the vine. This might sound like I'm explaining something that can't possibly be true, but it is true. And in my book, you'll see some of the testimonies. You'll see testimonies on my page and other places for social media where I'm at. These aren't me. These are my clients finding their soul, finding their wholeness, finding their truth. They're using my methodology, but they're doing the work. It's about them emerging. It's about the human condition finding its way into its divine truth. So don't let yourself be edited, and don't let yourself be convinced that you're not whole. The unwritten narrative that you've been following because you thought it was what you were supposed to do, the shoulds have got to stop. You've got to stop editing yourself and listen to the truth inside. Pop on the link below, get my book, read a little bit. Maybe you'll come into one of my programs so that you can go at a deeper level. I'm here to help you become the version of you that we both know is inside. This is the fact that you are not broken. You've just been separated from your true self. Let's bring that wholeness together so that you can feel awesome and make better decisions for your life and your legacy. This is Coach Mo. Your soul code is what matters the most to your life. If today's episode hit home, share it with a woman who needs to hear it, because the best thing we can do is make sure no woman sits alone in an experience that has a name. You've been listening to enough already. I'm Coach Mo Faul. Please subscribe and like and comment so this can be sent to more women just like you who needs to hear there is a different way. Take good care.